All right, man. So talk to me about now business, developing this and moving forward with it. There's actually I was trying to make research on tutoring companies. There's actually quite a number of them around Botswana, but there's few that stand out. The likes of you, the likes of Cricket, the likes of others. So obviously there's something that you have built that is recognizable. What was your plan moving into business, and how were you trying to stand out and become the company you are today?
Yeah, it also just comes back from my schooling at SA, I had a sales job. That's one thing I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah.
I had a sales job, and, in SA, as a young black guy, it's tough, It's something that we don't see because in Botswana, we are all young black guys.
Yeah.
But that side, there are so many odds against you. And if you are working in a company with other people, Indians, Indian males, Indian females, Africans, white guys, white males, white females, and you are the black guy, already when you start, there's a lot to prove. So you really have to push. You really have to push harder than everyone else. You really have to stand out, because if you just sort of sit back and relax, other people would be able to tick boxes that you can't tick with the customer. If you invite a customer for coffee and you are the young black guy, already there's that, does he really know what he's going to be talking about? But if you are maybe of another demographic, people sort of take that easier. They accept what you're going to say, but you have to work really hard and you really have to stand out. Big markets, and with Lion Tutoring, what we're trying to do is something that surpasses just Botswana. We're trying to get into the South African market. We've done well in Joburg and Pretoria. We're trying to get into Cape Town market next year. We're trying to get to London market. We're trying to get to New York. You're not just going to be an average Joe and try to make it. And you'd find in those countries, they've had tutoring companies or whatever that is that we are doing. They've got people who've been doing it for years. They've got millions, if not billions, in their balance sheets. They have the resources to get them there. So it's not just gonna come through, we get Lilehela, look at the time, 5 o'clock, it's gonna come through resilience, hard work, doing what other people are not willing to do, what other companies are not willing to do. I always tell people I'm not shy to now take out the suit and go stand in the robot, distribute flyers,
Facts.
As I'm not shy, I have nothing. If it's gonna do the job, if it's gonna get my team of sales guys, excited and motivated to do the work, so be it. So let's go do it together. So let's get people excited, So we really have to stand out, you have to do what other people are not willing to do.
I love that. I also like the way, the SA experience you gave us. So starting the company, did you get funding? Were you bootstrapping with your savings? How were you able to start this company? And
funding in Botswana, where, my guy? Tell us so we can go there and get the funding. In Botswana, man, unfortunately, it's not as easy. You have to bootstrap. You have to really bootstrap. I bootstrapped. I started taking tutoring students myself. With the experience that I had, use that money to do other things, to hire other people and just grow that, reiterate that process as many times as possible. So by the time people want to now start backing you, you probably don't even need the money, And I think that's a philosophy that even I heard somebody say, banks give money to people that don't need the money, So by the moment you go there to the bank and you somewhat seem desperate, I want to start my business, they're not going to bank, they're not going to fund you. They're not going to, and banks don't do funding, they look at collateral.
Yeah.
If you're not privileged to have a house somewhere that the bank can use it as collateral, which many of us don't, you really have to look for where can you get the money.
I wanted to chip in on what you said about being invited to speak, and people are charging 50,000. I charge 1.5. I mean, one of it's kids or age rent. I need this, man. It's tough. Also, like I understand it's a thing of you believing in your value. But sometimes life can also box you in that, and you're like, no, kunzima. When you see that it's rough. and you know that, okay, and if I charge too much, I might not get the gig. These are the conversations people have in their minds. So how are you interpreting that, and what should you say to somebody, especially somebody that knows that they don't have that amount of experience to say, yo, 50 bands, man. Yeah. Then you look away.
Personally, I write codes. I think in a week I send 2 or 3 codes, usually for the same thing. One, I don't know where the people get my number and what they told the person. But that's it. I'll come back to it. And then I find myself in the past where I would send a code, like you saying, you're wondering to yourself, am I charging way too much? Or should I stick to my price? I'll tell you a story. I was in studio in 2019 with the person I was doing radio with then. I can't mention her name now. And then, you know what I get? Then a company came in, and then they said, we want you guys to post something for us on social media. So send your codes. The person sends their code, and I send my own. And then we do the job, we both get paid. And then the few days later, she's using an iPhone, and I'm asking her, so where do you get the iPhone from? And she's like, no, I use the money from that gig. And I'm like, wait, how much is your iPhone? And she gives me a figure. And let's say she got paid 10,000 to do the exact job that we did. I charged $250.
250?
Yeah. And
like
200 pull-ups and 50 pull-ups. Yeah. And in my mind was, so you mean I'm just going to post and then you pay me? What's the like? I was, truth be told, I was so excited with my 250 as she was with her 10K, for example.
Wild.
Yeah. And then I started to think about it to say, I've spoken in event with Vuzitembe.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. He got paid 145K. I was given a ride home and end a means. I was happy. Look, I don't want to lie. I was happy for the. It
was the one with Bokanyimbao, that event.
That was the second one. That one where there was Baloi, what's his name? The sneakers guy.
Theo Baloi.
The Theo Baloi, yes.
Theo Baloi, yeah.
And Kanyimbao was there, and also so on and so forth. I spoke for free.
I would have gone on Facebook and rented.
Exactly.
I would have been here at Keyboard Warrior after that event.
So I'm not talking about things that I'm just thinking to myself to say, why do we do what we do? So my context is that I have been given opportunities that either told the market, why does this guy charge these things? So one of two things, either he's not the right person for the job, or he doesn't know his value, then we can exploit him. So that was the first thing. So they started teaching me from then to say, the world will always pay the price that you charge. But they gave me an analogy. They said, if you had an iPhone 14, because 14 was the latest at the time, and then the screen broke, and then two guys approach you. The other one is like, I can fix this, the 150, give me 150. Another one says, I can fix it, is give me 5,000. Who would you trust your iPhone with?
The latter.
Yeah, so for me, it was cheaper is better. And because I even had a reason to it, people want things that are faster, cheaper, and better. And then I didn't learn that cheap is expensive. And cheap, the pricing is a class thing. So the different types of products that exist, already you are choosing your own target market. So it's the same dynamics that happens even with the people that are selling food, the same dynamics with people that are doing almost anything. So when you send a code and then you're asking yourself the question, will they get my code? The question is not whether they will get you because they get the cheapest code. The question is somebody willing to pay you for the value that you see on yourself? So I end up becoming okay with sending codes every other week and I don't get any job. And sometimes I get the one that does this. Because the moment you negotiate down your price, that person is gonna call the next person. They say, look, he charges this much, but tell him I gave you your number. So you give you much for this one. And the whole thing goes down like that and you negotiate your value every time. So it's the same dynamic in whatever format that most entrepreneurs, they let their own personal biases of life to infringe on what they're doing in their business. So if you have a problem with pricing for your own value, you're going to do the same thing with the products that you're creating in the business. Either you're overcharging things or you are undercharging things. And then by virtue of you doing this, already the people, without asking you, they already trust you somehow. They would rather know whether they can do business with you or they won't. Yeah.
You talked about during the break how you started a business. You started the business, and then you plowed, and then you had a rainy season that killed everything. How did you come out from there? Because I want you to walk us through, like, mentally. How did you walk yourself through that issue? Because I think many of us, entrepreneurship is it's an uphill battle. It's really an uphill battle for all the time. So we face a lot of problems that kind of knock us out. But you were able to come back from that. How were you able to do that?
I think I would be selfish enough to say, being a Christian, regardless of others of different religions, but me myself, like you were asking about me.
Yes, sir.
Being a Christian, there are some stories that can motivate or encourage you to move forward in the Bible, and one of them being the Job story. When I went through the disaster, and I was young by that time, then I thought of Job and say, you know what, Job went through this and he overcame it. And the Bible says, when we were created, we are given the authority over everything.
Yes, sir.
Including the floods that went through. Then that's what motivated me, that's what encouraged me, that's what pushed me back into the field. You know what? This is where you belong. And this is where a lot of us, we tend to, especially the youth, but we've got a problem where we think having solutions, that's about touching here and there. But there's no way parallelly where you are and you manage the other side. I always say that to the people that I work with. There's no way, whatever I've been doing, there's nothing extraordinary about me. It's about having the vision and implement the vision. But now, there's no way you can be a successful business person. Why you are not doing well in Yamikan?
Where you are.
Yes, how can I have the responsibility? From there, you don't do them right. Never think that you can do it better at your business. You're going to do the same. So people, they always tend to say, no, I'll get my salad, but it's not about that. You need, let's say, for example, if you are working and you've got a plan to go and do your own business, you need to take care of the place that we are in. Like Francistown, we're going to Francistown. How does there's no need for you because when you don't care about Palapi. No, you're on transit. Because for you to be accepted, to be welcomed in Francistown, you need to have a very good record of that you did not mess up in Palapi. You get my point? So you really need to I had to make it a point where no, I'm going back to where I belong, and I focus, and I stayed in the one place, trying to figure out things, and I gave myself, you know what, 5 years. That's when maybe I can change my mind. But it went, I started enjoying it going forward because I accepted what I wanted to do, and I loved, and I put the commitment, and consistency and quality is the key. Yeah.
So what is the biggest business lesson that you learned? The one that you were like, wow, okay, this really shifted the needle for me. The moment I got this, a lot of things really started to move for me. What was that? Or maybe a culmination of a few lessons that that came into play and you're like, you know what? After getting this, yeah.
Wow. Culmination is a big word.
Yeah.
I don't know what but look, like everybody else, COVID hit everybody left, right, and center, unexpected. For us, before COVID was, I told you about the product life cycle. We're just pointing at the tip. We're just about to get to the climax of our performance and growth. In many ways, in terms of what we invested in the business, what we are planning in the business, the kind of clientele that we had got in the business, and so forth. But when COVID came, I must say, like many other people, we were not prepared. We didn't think there could be something of this magnitude. And we are still paying the debts even right now. We're still learning the lessons of our process could heal themselves, but not to this magnitude of where it's shut down for 2 years.
Yes.
So that is a lesson. Say, okay, now what do we do? One thing that we had started, though we delayed, there's a couple of other business that we do. So business diversification was one thing that we had learned, or we had agreed to. As I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is about setting up a business, developing it, and let it run, go to the next one. And my biggest problem was that when starting that business, as I explained before, that this thing of nature, something that I love, is a passion. So I let go of my guards as an entrepreneur and did this with a lot of passion and not finished. You must run it as a project. I'm studying this for 2 years. Set up for the first year, maybe run for the second year, and let somebody run it with it and I start something else. So I did that for too long. I ran touches for too long before I could focus. I had other businesses running, but I was not giving them as much love and care as I did. I think for me, that was my biggest problem. We have a business that we do, which is also a solution-based business. We give solutions to Botswana. Especially nowadays, it's more relevant now. The timing is even better and correct. Because we say to you, Motswana, you live at your house, or you have a plot somewhere that you own or you co-own, whatever. But the important thing, what you need is, you need a house there. So what I was saying, a solution that we have is saying, you don't need to mortgage the house. There are other solutions that we provided with financiers that you can come to us, and then we'll build a house there with certain agreements and platforms that we have with financiers, providing a solution. Because we know nowadays it's easier to go to Mokodisan and get a car than it's easier to spend 100,000 or 200,000 and build something that you can live, have for your food, so or a roof over head. So those are kind of solutions, the other business that we're running. We do trucking as well, the logistics, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and so forth. So
lovely.
Those are the things that we are doing on the side.
Lovely.
But we never give them as much attention as
that
side project. So that is one of the biggest regrets, if I may say.
That is the lesson you learned. Essentially.
Diversification, do your diversification strategy properly, do your financial planning in diversification properly. Diversify your investments over years. Say, this year, yes, I'm getting a chunk of money from this, but this, I have to dilute in this way and this way. So don't make your chunk of money more than 40% from one source.
Don't make
the chunk of your income more than 40% from one source. That's my ratio.
So when is it time to now bring in that injection of capital, and how should people go about it? Because business is difficult in that sense that you need a lot of stamina to keep going, and you have to become creative, and a lot of the times, yes, you don't need funding, you need a customer. But when is it time for you to say, okay, right now, this is the time I need to now inject to take my business to the next level?
Yeah, I think I know nowadays people sell ideas, but I still believe unless your idea is really something out of this world, I think you first need to develop something, build some equity. So you see, if you come to me with a great idea, and I think it's really a great idea, and this idea of yours can potentially generate 100 million pula. When I ask you to value this business, what what is going to be your valuation? Let's say this business, if we do it in a year, we'll make a profit of 100 million. If you come to me and you say, I must invest in this idea of yours, and you show me the projections, everything looks good. How much? And I ask you, okay, what stake are you offering me? How would you value that business? How would you value it?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Hey, you're putting me on the spot
Yes.
now. Okay. How would I value that business?
Yes.
I think I would value it as much as how much it's making a year. And I would also value the difficulty in it being replaced or replicated. Somebody coming in and saying, okay, I can come and do this, like the process of it. Probably if I have like IP or patented the process or whatever, then I would value it in that sense. But you're giving me that 100K, that 100 million.
No, I'm saying your projection.
My projection for
is
100
that
million.
you will make 100 million, not
Okay.
that you've made.
Not that I've
all
made
you
it,
have
right.
now is maybe you've painted this idea. All these, I guess, you could have painted. But you are saying, based on my projections, I think we will make a profit of 100 million. And you show me
Okay.
the numbers in year one. And then you say, Dumi, I want you to invest in this business. How are you what are you going to say to me is the value, how you came up with that valuation?
Oh, I'll times it by 12.
You times it by 12.
Yeah, I'll times the
profit.
month, by
Okay.
12. And yeah, probably by 5 also. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll times it by 12.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'd probably sit around with a few
you
accountants.
times the monthly profit, or you think you times the annual profit?
I'll times the monthly profit.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
the profit just for every month. Then
Okay.
say, bring it together. Okay, this is how much the business
Makes. So I'm telling
makes.
you already, we will make 100 million from your projections. Your numbers are saying we will make 100 million pula at the end of year one. So there's the profit is there. We will make a profit 100 million pula.
Okay.
It's there already.
So how much am I valuing
How
this
much
business?
are you going to value that business? Are you going to value it at the 100 million, or are you going to take 100 million times a multiple of 3? I just want to know if
I'll
you.
probably times it by a multiple of 3.
Okay, why?
Yeah. Just because I think it's more than just 1 year. This year 2, year 3. And if we're looking to grow, then that's what we're gonna look at.
Okay, so then if say you're offering me 50% of the business, you say, do me, oh no, 49. You want to remain with 51 to be in majority, you're offering me 49. So we're making a profit of 100 million, you multiply it by 3, so it's 300 million. So basically you'll say, do me, for you to buy a 49% stake in this business, you want 49% of the 300 million.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Okay. And then you would want me to take out that 49% of the 300 million, let's say 140 million. Just
Yeah, it sounds a bit bogus because nothing has been done.
Exactly. And
yet.
this is the point.
Yeah.
Most guys go with ideas and then you come up with these valuations.
With the
and
numbers,
And they could be true. But we're not
We're
in
there yet.
business.
Yeah.
We're not in the game of prophecy.
I like that. We'll steal that land. Yeah, we'll steal that land.
What I know as a fact today is that maybe you've got an idea that you might have patented, you've got something that is a product that you've patented, and yes, there is a value to that. But the reality is that without my money,
Nothing will
nothing
move.
happens.
Yeah.
But if you have done the patent, if you have through savings or through maybe found 1 or 2 angel investors, small ones, just to get this thing off the ground, and you've traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you've built a trend. When you come and have a conversation with me now we're not talking prophecy, now we're talking business.
Yeah.
You say, do me look.
This is
Then
what-
I might argue, but this is only the first year. So maybe you might want to do 12 months so that you can show a trend over a 12-month period. But my point is that add or build value to an idea before going out and looking for an investor.
Yeah.
We did the same thing.
Yeah.
We waited. There was somebody I met in an aeroplane from a private equity fund funded by Botswana Pension Fund at the time. We met in an aeroplane, and I think the year would have been 2014. And we sat next to each other, and I was wearing a rugby jersey for Western Province, having lived in Cape Town, so I support Western Province. And this guy asked me, are you from South Africa? And I said, no, I'm a Motswana. I said, and then the Western Province, Jersey. I said, nah, I studied, I went to UCT. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, what do you do? I said, no, I'm in media. Oh, what media? What do you know? We have got radio, this. He's like, oh, wow, I'm in private equity. He says his name. I'm like, oh, you worked with my wife at some stage. Yeah. He says, man, you know, I'm a former journalist and I'd really like to invest in your thing. I think what you're building, that combination is amazing. So it was 2014. We finally signed up with them in 2017 because I sat down with my partners and said, but we haven't yet built any value. If we bring this person in too soon, they're going to get in for nothing.
Yeah.
And that just builds animosity later on.
Yeah,
because you're
true,
thinking, but
true.
this guy came in for no money at all. But I told them, they'd keep on pursuing me every year. So, man, are we ready to invest? We've got the funds. I'm like, no, just wait. Happy we're making sure we've put in systems in place so that you really have a business. Something that will outlast me
Yeah.
or any of my co-founders of the business. Something that runs independent of me. So it's got structures and systems. It's not about do me, that if do me is not there. So we built all of that in place. So by the time we had the discussions in 2017, they were shocked. We had a business that had proper governance structures. We had subcommittees, audit committees, a remuneration committee, something that you wouldn't expect in a small private business.
Because you built value.
But we were building value in that. And we were building it knowing what the ultimate goal is that we want to get a private equity investor into this business, and that later on, as an exit for the private equity investor, we want to list this business. So already everything we're doing
Has
in our
that
group,
outcome.
the final outcome is that we want to ultimately list this group and give Botswana access to this media.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Deep Dive is dedicated to bringing you the most comprehensive and engaging information about business, personal finance, and personal development. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all our latest content. If you liked this video, give it a like to show your support and help us reach a wider audience. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family who may be interested. Sharing helps us grow our community and connect with like-minded individuals. Leave a comment below and give us your biggest takeaway on this episode. If you're interested in being a part of our live studio audiences, make sure to register for the next show. Can't make it to the show? No problem. Check out our Patreon page to watch the full episode and get exclusive access. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Deep Dive is dedicated to bringing you the most comprehensive and